I want to show you a little introduction to Microsoft PowerPoint, and this time I'm using Office 2010. So if you were used to using Office 2007, you'll notice, of course, that at the top left-hand corner of the screen, I don't have the Office button anymore, but I do have a tab called the File menu, or the File tab. I'm going to click on the File tab, and I can choose Open. And from my CP102 folder, I'm going to find my PowerPoint 1 folder, and this Giving Good Presentations file is the one that you can download from the CP102 website. Just going to open that. And of course, just like when we were using Access, you will see information that would include either this option here, or this message in 2010 that says it's a protected view because it originated from the internet and might be unsafe. So we're going to enable editing. And now I can use the file to do the different things that I want to do, maybe make some changes to it. The PowerPoint window is broken up into 3 major sections, plus the ribbon up at the top of the screen. On the left-hand side, we start off with the Slides pane, and it's also known as the Outline pane. And we're going to look at the Outline pane the next time we work with PowerPoint. But right now we're looking at the Slides pane, and you can see that it shows little thumbnails of each of the slides you're going to be using. It also tells you at the bottom in the status bar that you have how many slides you have. And in the main window, we see what the slide's going to look like. And underneath this window is actually the Notes area. So we have the Notes pane, the Slides pane, and the main window. This gray area down at the bottom, or right in the middle here, is called the splitter bar. So if I click and drag the splitter bar, you'll see that I can move it downwards and change the size. This Notes area is where you can leave speaker notes. These notes are for yourself, so when you give your presentation, you'll know what to talk about. When we want to view the slideshow, there's a couple of things we can do. I'll start by going on to the View tab, and up at the top of the View tab, you'll see that there is a couple of options for viewing the slides in different ways. I can view just notes pages. Well, this is a printout of what would happen if you wanted to print your note pages as well as the slides. There's a slide sorter, which would allow me to alter the slides by putting them in different positions. And I'll just put them back. But normally I'll just stick with a normal view. What I actually wanted to show you was the slideshow menu. On the slideshow menu, you do have the option to view the slideshow from the beginning, and you can also use F5, or you can view the slideshow from the current slide, which is Shift F5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and you can just see that just by pressing F5, I start my presentation. Now, a lot of people get confused giving presentations, and you've probably seen presentations where the presenter couldn't move to the next slide, or their mouse didn't work, or they couldn't move backwards. It's very easy to move backwards in PowerPoint slides. You can just use the cursor keys. Now, you can actually move forward by pressing the down cursor key, or you can also move forward by pressing the right cursor key, or you can press Enter, or you can press the space bar, or you can press any number of keys, actually. Now to go backwards, now I'm on slide 2, I can press the up arrow, or I can press the back arrow. Back, I'm already at the top of the slide, or the top slide. And there's also a page up will bring you to the previous slide, and page down will bring you to the next slide. So there are a lot of options. Once you're viewing the presentation, maybe you're on the next page, I can actually press Escape, and I'll stop viewing the presentation. Down in the lower right-hand corner, there is also a button here on the status bar called View Slideshow. And if you simply click Slideshow, then it will start from the current slide. So that's the same thing as pressing Shift F5. Now, once we have our slide presentation open and we know where we're looking for things, we want to probably insert a new slide. Now, inserting slides is not on the Insert menu. It's actually on the Home tab because it's a very common thing that you'll be doing. There is a New Slide button, and if you look at the Home tab and I move my mouse over the New Slide icon, it does say that I can add a slide to the presentation. But you'll see just the top half of that button is in gold, so it's highlighted. There's actually a second half of the button that I can highlight by moving over it. But first, if I just click the New Slide button, then I get a new blank slide, and this slide has a specific layout that has a title at the top and an area to place some text. And I can actually also, if you see that I move my mouse over each of these little images, I could insert a table, insert a chart, insert some smart art graphics, insert a picture from file, insert some clip art, or insert a media clip like a video clip or a sound file. So these are the different options you have with each of these different slides, but this slide just has a title up at the top and an area for placing more text at the bottom. Excellent. Now, if I go back to the new slide button, I can see that under the new slides, there's actually a number of different layouts. So the one that we just worked with is the title and content layout, but there's also a layout that has a title at the top and 2 areas or 2 panels of content. And you can see that there are at least, well, there's 7 here. 9, 10, 11. There's 11 different layouts. And there are actually a number of options, and I can reuse slides from previous presentations, which we're going to look at next week, or in your next video, which you'll look at in your next video. So I'm going to choose another one, maybe this one with the 2 content panels, and I can see that there's an area on each slide with the different, with the little dotted outline. These sections are called placeholders, and I can insert information in each of the placeholders. So this is another title, and I can click text here, and I can maybe import a picture here, but I'll do that some other time. And I'm just going to preview the slide to see what it looks like. And I'm going to press F5 to start my slideshow. And you can see we're starting again originally at the first slide. Scroll down or page down to the second slide using the down cursor key, third slide, and the fourth slide. So you can see that you no longer see the placeholders. They're just used when you are designing your slides so that you know where the text goes. Now those slides are pretty boring. We have kind of white background with black text. So I'm going to click on the Design tab. So if I look at the Design tab, I can see that I have a section that has a group that's called Page Setup, which will allow me to change the orientation of the slides from landscape to portrait. I can also see that there's a section called Themes. And you'll see that if I just move my mouse over these themes, then I actually see a live preview in the software itself about what that slide theme is going to appear on my slides. I'm going to go back to one of my slides with some actual information on it. And there I can just preview what these are going to look like without even clicking on any of the mouse buttons. There's a section for changing the color of the theme, the font of the theme, and the effects of the theme. But there is actually even more than just these 8 or 9 themes that are listed here. So I click the down or the more arrow on that little flyout, and I can see the themes gallery. So this gallery contains many, many different themes, and there's even a few that are loaded online from office.com in 2010, in Office 2010. So I'm going to look for one here. Maybe this one here is called Median. And if you mouse over each of them slowly, you'll see that a tooltip will pop up giving the name of the slide of the theme. So actually hardcover looks kind of nice. Oh, and as soon as I choose hardcover, you can see that the title slide or the first slide will have one setup or one layout or theme. And the secondary slides, or the second and third slides, all have a different format to them with different colors and different background colors and styles. So this is a really effective way to get a professional looking presentation very quickly by using automatic themes, or the themes that are provided with Microsoft PowerPoint. So I'm just going to look at this slideshow again from the beginning. Oh, this is very nice. See, this background looks like a kind of a hardcover leather book, and I can just move through it. The fonts are easy to read, the colors are nice and appealing, and I can simply use this design for the rest of the slides. Now, if for some reason you didn't like the presentation, theme colors, then you can actually customize these themes. Once I've chosen a theme, I can click on colors, and I can see that there are a number of different preset color swatches or color palettes that are provided with Microsoft Office. And again, they have different names. So this is the Elemental color scheme, and this is Couture, and this is Executive and Flow and Foundry. And you can notice that as I choose a different theme, or a different color style rather, then my slides will live preview with this new color. So the original Office color scheme or a grayscale, and I can choose Civic. So I've chosen the Civic color scheme, even though we're using the hardcover, using the hardcover. So you can see that I can change the colors even though we were using a different theme. If I didn't like the fonts with this particular theme, I can also choose different fonts. Now you'll see that this is the Office selection for fonts, and you see Calibri at the top and then Calibri at the bottom as well. If I look at something like this, this is Office Classic, which lists Arial and then Times New Roman. The first font is the font that's going to be used for your titles, and it's generally good with giving presentations that you can use sans serif fonts as a title, and the body of your text can be in serif fonts. Or it's also a lot more common now with electronic presentations to either just use, maybe switch it around. So something like adjacency, where you have a serif font in the title and the Calibri font as the body text. So I could choose any sort of selection of text that I want, and I can go back and see what the other slides look like. Now I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and I'm back here on the Home tab, and the last thing I want to show you today is how to print the slides. So in Office 2007, you could use the Office button and find Print, but in Office 2010, you can see that on the File tab, there is actually a Print option. But if you hit Control-P, you'll still get in both options, actually, why don't I try that now? I'm just going to go back to the Home tab, hit Control-P, and it brings me directly to the Print menu. So you'll get to the Print menu by holding down the Control key and pressing P in either Office 2010 or 2007. Now there's a button, of course, to print at the top, and it'll print one copy and it'll send it to a specific printer I have chosen. But there is an actual setting that I want to choose, and under Settings, if I look at the settings under Print All Slides, then I can choose to select from the current slide or print only the current slide, or choose a specific range. Underneath that, there's also an ability for you to type in the number of slides, and if I just move my mouse over that little I with a circle around it, it says I can enter slide numbers in the range of 1, 3, which will just print the first slide and the third slide. Now what I want to look at is this section here that says full page slides. I don't want to, maybe I don't want to print the slides full page. You could do this if you were handing them out to some people, but here's some secret techniques. I can actually choose Notes pages, and as soon as I choose that selection, then on the right-hand side of the screen, you have now what used to be known in the previous versions of Office as a print preview. So you can see with the Notes page, you have the small slide at the top, and your notes are at the bottom so that you can give your presentation and you'd be able to see your notes still. So you'd probably want to print out a copy of the Notes pages that you could use during your presentation. There is also an outline view, which just lists the title of your slides and some of the text on them. And there's also, of course, handouts. Now, there are some handouts where I could have 4 slides on each page, but what's really common is to just choose 3 slides per page. And when I choose 3 slides per page, you'll notice that I actually get the lines on the side so that the people who are viewing the presentation can take notes as you're speaking. So this is probably a really good thing that you'll want to do. People will want to have a copy of your presentation, and they'll want to be able to take notes alongside as you go along. So I highly recommend the 3 slides print layout. That is all I wanted to show you about PowerPoint 2010. Thanks for watching.